Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're going to take a look at how to improve the game component of a very beautiful and really nice game called Bunny Kingdom. Expand your fief by just a hair by Richard Garfield, who also designed a number of other games such as Magic the Gathering and Robo Rally. Now this game pits 2 to 4 players in a game for area control, card drafting and much more. And we are going to look at this. We're turning down the camera. We're going to take a look at how to improve these little castles that you put out on a beautiful map and then place your bunnies in them. They're kind of like creamy beige colored, and we're going to look at how to improve the main level 3 castles of these small castles themselves. And to do so, I've already primed the miniatures here in white. As it looks like this. This is a level 3 castle. It looks a little bit different from level 1, but you can use the same method by painting all of them. And the first thing we are going to do is we are going to cover this specific little castle in a color from Citadel called Mechanicus Standard Grey, and it's a very greyish colour. And we're going to cover all of the miniatures, all the miniatures of this one, except for the top part of the turrets. We're going to be in different colours. So, of course, as always, we always make sure we dilute the base paint with 50% water, so we make sure it doesn't obscure any of the details. Give the paint bottle a good shake, so all the pigments are mixed around nice and evenly, and then we're ready to go. And this is one of my favorite board games. I really like area control in general, and this one also has card drafting as a nice mechanic. I picked this game up in 2017 when it was released in Essen Spiel, and Essen Spiel is a convention that's it's the largest convention of its kind in the world, and also there are some videos on my channel of where I'm walking around in Essen last year, so be sure to check that out. I think I will go this year, and if you want to know anything more about Essen Spiel, let me know in the comments. Now we're going to put this across the entire surface of these ones. If you cover the tops, no problem. Make sure that the paint is not too thick, so you obscure any details. So like this can be a little bit fiddly getting around it, but I'm sure you can do a really good and solid job about it. So I'm holding these ones by the turret here, making sure that I can paint the entire miniature. Oh, there you go. I guess I didn't show you that one, so I'll show you right now. So putting it all across these little beautiful miniature. It's a nice castle, and on top there is space for a bunny, and they come in different colors. I think their colors are pink, red, black, and one more color that I forgot. I haven't played this in a while. So many games that I also really like to play, so don't forget to color the top as well and the inside. I'm not going to do everything here, and when it's done, I've already pre-painted it so you don't have to wait for me. Then it will look something like this. Alright, look something like this. This is really nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint the top ones here with a color called Jokarero Orange from Citadel. Also give it a nice good shake. And I'm painting it with a solid Winsor Newton size 3 brush. You can use a smaller brush for more control if you want to, but this one is perfectly fine for this purpose. And if you think, you might already have figured out why I'm painting it orange, because I intend the castle to looking kind of like a carrot with the tops here. And as you can see, it's already looking a little bit better, but I want to make sure that it goes from a little bit better to a little bit more better. So this is not going to win you any, there you go, it's not going to win you lots of competition, this one, but it will make the game stand out on the table, and that's the entire idea of this video. Making sure that I can teach you how to paint these ones fairly easily. Anyone can do this. And I'm not a master myself, I'm a self-taught person. I looked at other videos online and realized, maybe this is something for me. This game is not in any way sponsored by Mechanicus or Iello, well, not Mechanicus, Iello Games that produced this game. I bought it myself, and I realized that maybe there would be time in the future where I can show you how to upgrade the components. Otherwise, the components are really good. So you will get the idea. Something like this. I'm not going to finish everything, as I have already a pre-painted model for you to see, but pretty much everything. There you go, and from the other side as well. It can be a bit fiddly to get around it, but it's not that difficult. Alright, looking a bit like this. You have a little bit on the side here that I missed, but you will do so in your own time. Just going to show you here. And maybe I'll just touch it up as well. And over here. And on the other side here. Making sure that you don't touch what we already painted before in grey. So, this one done. There we go. And then it should look something like this. Now, when it comes to this one, now we're pretty much put on most of the base colors. We're going to usually sidestep our normal variant in painting videos, in which I do base colors, shades and washes, or just washes and shades, depending on how you want to call it, and then go on to highlight and finishing touches. What I'm going to do right now is going to go straight into the shades, and I've chosen to use a shade called Black Wash from Vallejo. And I've put it out on my palette already. I'm going to cover all the grey parts of the miniature already, and I'm going to soak it undiluted. And on regards of undiluted, I also used undiluted paint for the orange tops of the towers. I want to make sure that it really pools all over the miniature. Don't get too worried if you put on too much, because it will really accentuate these nice brickworks on the miniature. Let me see if I can get this one underneath here. Just showing you the base. You can do it yourself. You probably should, what I should have done is to put it on some kind of blue tack so you can paint the entire miniature without holding it. But you get the idea. Something like that. You don't have to do a shade on the towers. If you want to, you can use something called Caribou Crimson on Citadel. That's up to you. I'm not going to touch it, but with that one done, after it's dried, it should look something like this. And you can already see some of the miniatures really coming to life here. It's some beautiful details. But I want to do something a little bit more, and I want to make sure that I will dry brush this entire black area to accentuate the raised areas and especially the brickworks. And I'm going to do that, and I think I will choose a color called Neutral Grey from Vallejo, and I'll show it to you just in a second. This is Neutral Grey from Vallejo. It's quite a light color, and I'm going to put it undiluted, as which we do with all dry brushing, out on my palette. And then what I do is that I take a flat brush, or in this case a round brush works as well, that is a little bit doesn't have a fine tip. It can also be an old brush, and I soak it in all of it like this, and then I wipe most of the paint away on a piece of kitchen towel. And I do that. That's the technique of dry brushing. And when coming up to the castle here, you dry brush the entire miniature. It helps smooth out some of the edges where the wash has pooled a little bit unevenly. And as you can see, it's starting to look quite beautiful. Don't forget the towers, but try to avoid the roofs. And if you feel it's starting to get a little bit two little colors on it, then you do the same thing over again. You soak the paint on the brush and wipe up most of the paint on a piece of kitchen towel. And you have a go at it again. The point here is not to take away all the shades, but make sure that it blends in with the rest of the miniature in a nice and smooth way. Make sure you cover all sides as well as the top, which I'm going to do in just a second. So I've showed you. And a little bit more paint is needed. And now we'll go over one of the towers here again, and the top. Make sure that you touch the crenellations on top. These are the raised areas here. They're called crenellations on a castle. So if you go to a castle, you can impress your girlfriend, boyfriend, family member, or someone else, or your dog, or your cat, if he's listening, and tell them these are crenellations. If you want to impress them even more, you can say that the walkway on top here of a castle is called a parapet. And they can also have murder holes, and you can even look that up, and everyone will look really impressed at you. Why do you know all these things? And you can say, yes, I've been listening to Painting with Martin, and he told me all these things, and he is apparently quite a nice guy, or so I keep telling myself. So with that one done, what we're going to do now is we are going to paint these areas here, the carrots on one side, and then on the second side over here in white, so we can paint them with orange afterwards. But we're also going to paint these outlying areas here in green, and I'm going to do this first, and I've chosen a paint called Caliban Green from Citadel to make sure they will kind of look like carrots. I will use this undiluted. You can, if you want to, also paint them white first and then green if you want to make sure that they stand out even more. And I'm going to try this one first. Use a fine tip brush. I'm using a size 0 here. And of course, refill your paint, making sure this is a general beginner's thing. Make sure you don't get any paint ever up into the metal part here, because that means it can be really hard to clean it, and more importantly, your miniatures, or no, actually your paintbrushes will start looking like. I'll show you. They will look like, no, bad example. They will start looking like this, very badly, and then they're using really to just mix paints and stuff like that. But you can avoid that by cleaning them and taking care of them in a good manner. I'm going to probably do a video about that one quite soon, so if you want to how to take care of your brushes, stay tuned for that update. And I'll show you how to take care of your brushes. It's not that difficult, and you just need to get hang of it. And if you feel that you haven't covered these raised areas, you can dry brush again with the second layer. Depends how light you want your castle, or how dark. I prefer for a more darker look, because in most cases these castles are placed over mountains in the game. So looking a bit like this. It's hard, it's a very subtle way, but we're going to highlight these ones up in a brighter color in a bit. As you can see here, I've painted my carrots on the top on the side of the castle here in white. Very, very basic and very thin layer. You can see it over here as well. And while this one is drying, we're going to put some highlights on these tops here. And I've used a color here for the orange one called Vallejo Orange Fire, and it's a very bright color and it's a little bit fluid, so I'm going to put some highlights on the castle here. I'm leaving the castle's sides, or not sides, but bottom towards the tower itself as a little bit as they are from the Jokarero Orange, so you can actually see the difference as the light shines on the castle. Let me switch to a better brush, a little bit larger one. And if you feel that the Jokarero Orange is just your style, you can just keep it like this. Apply a second layer and highlight it up. You can also just use a very thin layer of orange fire. Kind of gives it a carroty feel here. I've seen other YouTubers painting these red as well, kind of like a traditional castle. But I've chosen to use a different approach so you can see that it's actually a kingdom of bunnies here. With that said, now I'm going to use the same color. I'm going to use highlight straight away, and you're going to use it on the carrots here. Can be a little bit fiddly here, especially since you painted it in white, so make sure you get it right from the beginning. And if you want to, you can start with Jokarero Orange here as well straight away. I'm doing this to save a little bit of time. Same thing with the green areas here. You can do Caliban Green straight away if you want to. Making sure that it looks kind of nice, because you don't want it to be looking white. And going over to the other side. Same thing, orange fire or Jokarero Orange and then orange fire, up to you. And if you feel that you painted a little bit too much white on the side here, you can easily repair that with adding a little bit of neutral grey. And that's it. All right, looking quite good already. And now we're going to put some color on the kind of like leaves here, as well as highlight up the kind of like standing out raised areas on the towers. Oops. Happens that I drop things. For the green areas of this castle, I'm going to use a Citadel color called Warpstone Glow. It's a layer color, and I'm using it undiluted, just like I did with the other colors, some of the other colors. And I'm going to start highlighting up the raised areas over here, and as you can see here, it's already starting to look a little bit good. It doesn't have to cover everything of the Caliban Green, just small parts of it. So you can leave some of the Caliban Green showing as well. And I'm going to put some more paint on it. Turn it around so you can see. And the inner sides here, you don't actually have to paint them because they're not really going to be visible to most of the human eye. Unless you have that a friend that you likes to say like, oh wow, you didn't paint this area here. Why didn't you do that? And the same thing at Warpstone Glow. Reason why I put these in white here before and not straight away is that now it actually looks a little bit brighter. As you can see, it looks quite alright. Now I can turn around the castle, highlight some of these areas that I didn't do before. Warpstone Glow is a really nice, vibrant color. One of my favorite Citadel colors. If you want to, I don't know if I said it before, but these brickworks can be painted in kind of a red-orange mix as well to make sure that they stand out even more. And of course the tower here, not the tower, the gate here, can also be done the same in a kind of like another color, make sure it stands out more. There are many things you can do with this castle. Alright, and we've got a finished miniature almost here. Maybe a little bit more on here, I missed here. And on the side here. Alright, it's almost as good as it's going to get with me. And I hope you learned something from this. And this is what it actually looks like, the map. Normally I don't show the board games that I paint, but I just want to show how beautiful the map is. And there's just a small part of the map as well, so you can see if I can turn it around over here. They have lakes and like rivers and like lots of nice detailed artwork. It's a beautiful game. Bunny Kingdom by Richard Garfield. It came out in 2017 by Iello Games, and well, the designer of the game, the illustrator of the game was called Paul Mayafan. So if I turn around here, you can actually see here that, or maybe on the other side, there's a little bunny here in the castle, the pink one, really cute. And this is how it looks like placed on the mountain. Level 3 castle compared to the other castle. Yeah. Compared to the original standard castle, which had been over here, something like this. So if you put the castle bunny like this, now you control this area, and if you put the bunny inside of it, you have to play this card very carefully. Now, if you like this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing by hitting that little bell button over here. Then you don't miss any of my videos. Otherwise, go and put some paint on those brushes, make sure those miniatures look fairly nice, and I'll see you next time, and thank you very much for watching.